The deepening and widening of the Durban Port entrance, which was completed in 2010, presented a unique opportunity for another major infrastructure development, the Durban Point Waterfront. The point area in Durban was a derelict and neglected part of the city. The waterfront development is set to change all of that. The initial investment by the city of Durban in the Ushaka Marine World was the catalyst to spark a world-class waterfront development. We met with Gino Duramo of Larusco Developments, the project management company overseeing the completion of the Durban Point Waterfront development. The project is almost halfway done.
55-hectare development site. It's a joint venture between eThekwini Municipality through the Durban Infrastructural Development Trust and private sector, predominantly Malaysian investors, as well as a smaller local empowerment investor here. Mixed-use development, total of about 575,000 square meters of bulk, of which approximately 200,000 has been sold thus far. So we're approaching halfway through the project. As I say, mixed use and offering of residential, which is what the bulk of the uptake thus far has been, as well as office, retail and also a hotel offering.
Taking advantage of the location of the Ushaka Marine World and its proximity to the ocean, developers created a canal system that is both functional and aesthetic.
The canals actually play a twofold role in the development. Firstly, from a functional basis, Ushaka requires seawater through their marine tanks, which is obtained via Ushaka Pier. And that seawater filtrates through Ushaka and then has to go somewhere, basically back into the sea. And the canal is a mechanism by which that seawater is actually released back into the ocean. So it's functionally it works from Ushaka and from the development. And secondly, obviously, it drives up the value of the real estate because there's a premium to be paid by having a location right adjoining the canal and the water. So it was a model which has worked for Ushaka, and it's also worked for the development because it's enabled us to create some value in an area which is probably a back of beach area, and it's created some critical mass, and now we can move forward towards the beach, the waterfront side of things.
Plans are underway to build a small craft harbour, which will impact significantly on the water sports and leisure industries and will also be a major tourist attraction for the city. There
are a few factors here that make it a unique proposition, and one of them was the harbour widening by Transnet. I think the investment by Transnet was 2 to 3 billion rand. And with that harbour widening, that effectively gave us half of our Smallcraft harbour. The second aspect is the actual physical location of the site. It's in the lee of the North Pier, sheltered by the bluff. The prevailing current is from a southwesterly direction. So all those factors kind of come into play in terms of making it both financially viable and also operationally viable. So that was really the basis for the Smallcraft Harbour, and really the Smallcraft Harbour, we try and look beyond simply moorings and some boats. I think it's more of a package of a lifestyle offering. Durban has lots of beachfront, but it doesn't have a waterfront, and what the Smallcraft Harbour brings to the development is essentially a waterfront where there's a range of amenities and features that will attract tourists, investors and residents.
With its pristine beaches and all-year sunshine, Durban is already enjoying the lion's share of domestic tourism. The waterfront development will consolidate the city's position as South Africa's most popular holiday destination.
Firstly, we've never positioned the waterfront as a V&A waterfront in Durban. I think it's inevitable that aspects of it will be compared to V&A. For instance, we've also got aspects here which is a retail environment that might be compared to Melrose Arch in Joburg. That's never been the positioning of the waterfront as such. I think the uniqueness of it is firstly the interface between the canals and the beachfront. I mean, we've got a beach. The beach is an integral part of the waterfront. So not only do we have the Smallcraft Harbour and the activity and the boating and the water sports, but we've actually got a bathing beach. So somebody can actually come down here, spend the day on the beach, then go and look at some boats and partake in their water sports and go to a retail court and then walk along the canal. So we've tried to find a range of amenities and features that will attract investors and tourists alike. So it's very much, as I said, a 24-hour zone, but with a strong emphasis on leisure and lifestyle.
With half the total space available, the developers are hoping to attract investors to what could be Durban's finest real estate development.
I think in terms of investors' perspective, it's a unique location. We believe it's the only location suitable for a Smallcraft harbour up and down this coastline. So firstly, it's got that uniqueness in terms of locality. eThekwini has recently spent a substantial amount of money upgrading their beachfront, so it is positioning itself as well, it remains Durban's domestic holiday capital. There's obviously a finite amount of investment here, and I think it's fair to say we're going into the most exciting phase of the project, which is the release of the Smallcraft Harbour, and essentially that completes the package of the entire development. So I think all of those are combined to make an attractive destination. Obviously, you've also got the Bluff Headland and the Harbour Channel, so you've got that as a unique aspect of the development as well. I think coupled to that, I mean, in terms of maintenance standards and safety and security, I mean, we've got a management association here that effectively has top-notch standards both in terms of maintenance, in terms of cleaning and in terms of security. So all of that I think elevates it into a desirable location for an investor, and certainly that's what we've seen up till date. And in terms of the initial uptake, we had a flood of investment here in terms of the initial offer.